The program director that day was Mark Mason. He has had a very distinguished career since then, running stations, doing all different things for the company. Mark, pick up the story. That weekend you said to me, I want you to sleep on this idea, okay, and tell me Monday, because if you don't like the idea, you're not going afternoon drive. The idea was Mike and the Mad Dog, and to your credit, now, obviously, after what happened, there was, as I remember, a tremendous amount of opposition to that idea.
There was.
Why the idea? What was you? When did you hatch the idea?
Well, as Jeff said this morning, there's a fine line between genius and insanity. Somewhere in that, between those two lines, was the idea that Pete, and I will not speak badly about Pete. He's no longer with us, but I came to the conclusion that he wasn't going to be in the long-term best interest of the station because he kind of burned every bridge, calling fans, New York fans, all kinds of words, which you now have the right to. You kind of have to earn the right to do that.
Well,
and you don't
even do that.
No.
That's not. You know,
but he did.
Right.
And it became clear that we needed to have just a great afternoon drive show, and so I wanted to put a team together because I realized that. And at that time, what did we do? 4 hours?
Yep, 3 to 7
originally.
Did you doubt you had two guys who were making a name for themselves? Did you doubt the idea? There was so much criticism and so many obstacles and so many people against it. Did you ever doubt your idea?
Oh, yeah. I doubted. I'll tell you when I really doubted it the most was driving home the first day.
Oh, it was terrible, yeah. We had a rough day. Yeah.
Terrible is, Yeah,
it's good.
Driving home that first day to New Rochelle, and I was going up the Whitestone Bridge, and I thought, boy, this bridge is really high. And I've really made a career-ending decision here. I couldn't understand a word Chris said. It was like learning, and I think that was true for a lot of people. It was like learning a foreign language. I love him. He's great, but you couldn't understand a word he was saying. So then I thought, oh, now what have I done to this great radio station? It's just the end of that. It's the end of my career. And I thought, well, so if my life insurance is paid up.
Right.
If I do a header off this bridge, that'll be the end of that.
But you stuck with it.
We stuck with it.
And you coached a lot. You had me and you had Dog, and you coached a lot.
Yeah, but you know what, Mike? You guys really caught lightning in a bottle.
And
you guys, as you well know, you worked hard at it.
Oh, we did, as a matter of fact. When did you realize it had clicked? Was it the first book, or was it before that?
It was before that. I can't really pick a time, but the chemistry just, which might not have worked out, as you know,
right.
It just clicked. And there was sort of a time, it wasn't any particular moment, but you guys got comfortable with each other. You got into a rhythm. And it was this magical thing. Who knew it would last nearly 2 decades? You guys affected the lives of almost a whole generation of guys growing up, and then guys and their sons in the car. You became part of the New York fabric, not just sports.
Right.
Guys had a lousy day at work. They were all sports fans, or not even necessarily. They just wanted to hear two guys.
They got in their car and they heard this.
Yeah, it was like.
Mike and the Mad Dog, Sports Radio 66, WFAN. They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can. It's Mike and the Mad Dog on the Fan. Nothing can get by 'em, turn it on and try 'em. Mike and the Mad Dog, WFAN.
And there it is, Mark, music to your ears. Dog, welcome. Obviously, people have been waiting for hours to you to join today's festivities. So first, say hello to the man who created the program.
First to you, Mike, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today, nor would you. So you and I, 20 years.
Yes.
And yes, Mr. Mason,
yes,
who put this baby together and put up with all you and I's foibles for so long. But then he hung in there, and he left. And you and I, 18 years later, still did talk radio.
Wait, my ears hurt already.
Yeah, well, Mark, before you leave us and I chat with Dog, when you think about now, when you hear about, do you feel like a proud papa when you realize that you created what has become an iconic program?
Yeah, Mike, I tell you, through a long and admittedly checkered career, in 14 years at a great radio station like 1010 Wins. You guys are, for me, the thing I'm most proud of.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you.
I do feel like a papa, not in the biblical sense.
Well, you know what? You deserve a lot of the credit, and you went through, as we know, a lot, and thank you for that. Thank you, because you impacted our lives dramatically. Hey, listen, that afternoon changed my life. It changed Dog's life, and wherever Dog and I go, and I've said this a million times since Dog and I have parted ways, nothing we were ever going to do apart was ever going to equal what we had done together. We all knew that. He knew that. I knew that. There's no reason to even think otherwise. We did something that was special. We understand that, and we are both very proud of it and thankful to you because you created it.
Once in a lifetime. I'll let you guys run. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you, Marky. Good to hear from
on
you.
everything you did. And Mike, happy anniversary.
Thank you, Mark, very much. Dog, where you been since 08? I've been looking for you.
Well, Federer's in trouble, Mike. He's down 2 sets to 1, 2-2 in the fourth. What do you think I've been doing, for God's sake?
I've been trying to do a show today, Dog. I can't even do it because I have the tennis on and I'm riveted. Why don't you come over and do the play-by-play for me?
I know it, Mike. I put you on yesterday. I saw you with Stern. I could have sworn you'd be doing some Nadal stuff, for goodness sake.
Yeah, that and the Giant. Hey, listen, we're on a Yankee-Giant collision course. I want you to know that. You know that I've been watching. The Giants are going to get to the World Series this year, I'm telling you.
I've been thinking that. I thought...
We'll merge the shows for 2 weeks. What do you think?
Oh, we'd have to do something.
We'll talk to Chernoff. We'll merge the shows for if it's a Yankee-Giant World Series, we'll merge the show for 2 weeks. What do you think?
You know what? I thought in 2000 we had it, and then the Mets shocked the hell out of me, and I remember we walked out of the studio after game 4. You said, Dog, listen, I know it stinks, but yet we needed the Mets to get to the next round. You were right. I thought that 2 years ago, I thought that you would beat Texas, so I thought the Yankees and Giants had a chance then. But I think the Giants have the best pitching in the National League. The Phillies are bad. That league isn't that good. I think the Giants got a hell of a chance to be there. And, the Yankees pitching staff, is Rafael Soriano going to get big outs against the Texas Rangers in October? You tell me. You know better than I do.
It's amazing. It's funny. I'm just sitting here listening to you talking. I'm watching all these people, and the people, when the music came on, they all just started smiling. The people just, it's funny what that song still does to people. You know that? All these years later, you can see these people, they've been waiting all day for the two of us to sit here and talk, and you can hear when the music came on, everybody rushes in and just listens to the music. It's just funny to watch their reaction.
Yeah, that's a tribute to the station. I've been listening all day. I heard Smelling at the top. I heard Coughlin was very good. I've heard Classy and Minko. I heard Jim Lampley. You guys done a great job with it. And you hit it right in the head. I can sit there and I can make the radio spin all day. You can, you've gotten great ratings. You can do the things that you do. But those 19, 20 years that you and I spent together, that is going to be it's going to be on our tombstone.
No, it is, Dog. That's a scary thought that you're going to be on my tombstone, but you are, which is a scary thought that you're going to be on it. Geez, just don't beat me there by too much. I don't want to beat you there by too much. So that's the only thing.
Two people who were most upset that when we left a couple of years ago, one was my son Timmy,
right,
who you voiced, and the other one was your wife.
My wife, she's still upset. I'm telling you right now, it was her favorite program. She loved it. How is Timmy the basketball star?
Yeah, Timmy's not. He's done pretty well. He's on a pretty good. He's on a pretty good Stanford AAU team.
Oh, good.
That they play. You'd be amazed at some of these 13-year-old teams. By the way, you would be. These kids,
they're just tremendous, right?
Oh, tremendous! You're talking about front line 6'2", 6'3", 6'2",
right,
at 13 years old. The caliber of play is superb. But Timmy and Ro are the two people. And listen, you and I have gone. You went through Dog Date Afternoon, and you went through Girlfriends. I went through
a lot. Absolutely,
marriages.
absolutely.
And I was thinking about it today. I think the three things that were most important for you and I thought the first thing was that Dog Date
Afternoon started Mike and the Mad Dog. It got us over the bad period. It actually, and you had to be a good sport about it, and you were. Dog Date Afternoon started us on a good path. I agree.
No question. That was in the 89 or 90.
Correct. 89.
And we took out cards, and we had a winner, Joanne Farkas, and we went to go see, and you sent me to Cats.
Cats.
But you did get get me a limousine.
Yeah, I did. I tell you what. Oh, God. Where is Joanne Farkas? We should have got her on the show today.
Should have. Out of Queens. Never forget it. And that was also the same time where you and I almost froze to death with Bob Gelb, who almost drunk himself.
Oh, remember that?
At the Giant Eagle game.
Giant Eagle game. Randall Cunningham. Absolutely. Absolutely in the limousine. And I met a guy yesterday who said he drove us that day when I'm at the Newark yesterday at the NBA. The guy says, I drove you and Dog in Anytime Limo to the game that day.
Anytime Limo was the limousine service. Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely right. So the first one's Dog Day afternoon. What was the second one?
I thought that, I think for you and I, everybody has said it today. Mason just said it. You and I didn't know each other that well. I had gotten there, in and out of Imus. You had gotten there before me, and you thought that you had been doing a show. Mason, let's try Donald Duck in here. So it took us a little while to get a little rhythm, and I thought that Dog Day afternoon helped.
I think it did. I also thought that Giant Bill's Super Bowl 49-13 was that whole week. Remember that Friday with George Young in the hotel? There must have been thousands of people in that hotel that day. I always think of that year because that was a huge event, that Super Bowl.
Yeah, don't forget also we were at that championship game out there in San Francisco.
Remember that? Yep.
And we flew all night to go to
and you were asleep on the floor in the first class, and Dog is lying on the floor between the rows, and the lady says, the stewardess said to me, I'm going to have the pilot stop the plane if he doesn't go sit in his seat. And I said, he can't sit in his seat. He's freaking out. You got to let him lie on the floor. He lied on the floor all the way to Cleveland.
And Bill took it well because I did think it was going to be. I thought, me, I thought the Bills were going to kill the Giants.
You did.
So I may have been better.
I remember telling Ron Earhart that scored, and he's gone now. I remember telling Ron Earhart, and he was going nuts. He thought it was the greatest thing he ever heard.
49-3, and as it turned out, that was. I agree with you. That was very important that week, and that was our second Super Bowl because we had done the first. We had done the Denver-San Francisco one.
I remember.
I thought was true. I also think the spring of '84. When the Rangers and Knicks, I know Chernoff mentioned this, he's right. I thought, we had unbelievable ratings that spring.
We did.
I think we had like an 8-8.
Remember in the middle of the night we left Vancouver and went to Houston, and we were in that airport on the floor sleeping in the airport?
Through Seattle. We went to Houston it was game 4 of the Rangers, and then went to Houston.
And Dog had to analyze my trip. I'm not only on the trip, the trip's taken me 20 hours, but Dog has to analyze it and say, listen, Mikey, on this part of the plane we'll be on a DC-10, and then Dog had to analyze every. I'd say, Dog, I'll take any plane right now. We can't find a plane. There's no planes in this airport.
We left the third period of that Ranger game. Remember that?
I do.
Because we had to get the last flight to Houston out of Seattle.
And you rooted.
Oh, I rooted for the Rockets.
You rooted for the Rockets just to see a Game 7. I said, what if we lose? You said, don't worry, you'll win Game 7. We stayed in Houston. It was 200 degrees for 3 extra days.
I remember that was a Sunday, Wednesday.
Yes,
so
I remember it well.
Sunday night, John Starks shot the Knicks out. That was it. He took the 3 to win it.
Yes.
And he didn't give the ball to Ewing. We couldn't believe it.
No, the funniest thing was watching you when Oakley threw the ball out of bounds. You got so mad.
What was it? They were down 2
They were up 1 with the ball. Up 1 with the ball.
And he threw so I thought that spring was very important. And
it was.
You and I should never. We got on we were on the parade route. If you
we should never have gone. I agree with that.
We should never have done that, but we were wrapped up in it. So I thought that was important.
Yes.
And I think the other one that was very important that I think a lot of people kind of forgot about was the Yankee run in '96.
I agree. The pink Cadillac.
That pink Cadillac, we were on every night until midnight.
Yep.
People don't realize that.
Every night we worked till midnight.
Yep.
Remember that?
Well, we had millions of dinners at that station, and me, like an idiot, rooted my rear end off the Orioles. And I actually thought that I thought they'd beat Texas, but I was convinced there was no way they were going to beat the Braves. No, I thought the Brave pitching and the way that series.
The Braves were killing them. They're killing them.
They got killed in the first 2 games.
Andrew Jones, Pettit getting rocked. They lose 11-0, 12-1. Here is how we spent about 6 years, folks. We'd go to every game together. We'd do the show there. Then we'd sit behind home plate. And early in the game, the Yankees would be losing, and Dog would be giving it to me for like 5 innings, jumping around, dancing. And then the Yankees would come back, and he'd get mad and leave.
Here were the 2 things about it, though. Mike would never get annoyed annoyed like my father used to. Mike would never get annoyed when I killed him and the Yankees were in trouble. Because I remember I was cheering like hell when Griffey scored on that base hit by Edgar Martinez.
Oh, yeah. 2 o'clock in the morning.
And then I would always laugh it off when Mike would get the last laugh. So actually, 96, I thought 96 was very important. The fact that the Yankees hadn't won in 18 years. You went to Game 6 that year.
I did.
That was the only one, the only show that we didn't do.
Right, that Saturday night. I actually went with Joel. Joel is here. I just saw him. Now what I'm going to do, dog, is sit with me for a minute. I'm going to get a commercial in, and then I'm going to bring in some of the Mike and the Mad Dog producers. I have Gelb here. I have Colin here. Is Malusis here? Malusis is here. I'm going to bring them all in to talk to us. So hold on.
I want to hear 'em.
Okay,
Absolutely.
back after this.
This is Jim Abbott, and I want to wish everyone at WFAN a happy 25th anniversary.
Partner in a minute here, and our producers. The best of summer sports is here: baseball, tennis, auto racing, and of course this year's Summer Olympics. But the best sport of all is driving a newest certified pre-owned luxury vehicle from the good folks at Ray Catina's in their Sport of Driving Summer Sales event. Whether you live in Jersey or New York, they have 19 convenient locations, the best lease prices, the best finance prices, and the most popular brands: Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, BMW, Mini, Land Rover, Jaguar, Porsche, Infiniti, Sprinter, Maybach, and Smart Car. Get the convertible, the sports car, the roadster, or the family fun vehicle you've always wanted, and participate in the best sport of summer, driving a car from Ray Catena during their Sport of Driving Summer Sales event, which is going on right now. For over 50 years, Ray Catena has had one very simple philosophy: you take care of your family, your business, and your life, they'll take care of your car. Ray Catena, luxury without compromise. Go to raycatena.com for more and enjoy the best summer sport of all, driving a luxury vehicle from the good folks at Ray Catena. It's Mike and the Mad Dog right now, and Dog, I have with me the first three producers: Gelb, Continent, and Malusis. Now, you get to decide, and Continent, of course, is Chris Cullen, in case, you're not an SNY fan. Number one, Dog, they each want to tell a story, so you get to pick which one you want to hear from first. Who would you like to hear from?
First off, you and I were both agreed, God love them all, because of the fact that you and I had so many, we had so many ups and downs at times.
Yes.
They have to hear all our whining, moaning, and groaning. So, but I think we got to go with the first one, because Gelb probably had to deal with most of the abuse and the early part.
And we'll go to Gelb first, because you know what?
Bob with us the longest, by the way, I guess he was.
All right, who was here the longest? Gelb, were you first? How many years counted for you?
6.5.
How many for Gelb's?
Oh, no, then I was the longest.
How many?
8.
Yeah.
And how many for you, Malus?
I worked with you guys for 6 years.
6 years. So 6.5, and 8. All right, Gelb, you go first. Go ahead.
Well, first off, my appearance is brought to you by Peerless Boiler.
You knew Bob would figure out how to make a buck during his appearance.
Mike and I had a great time at the Travelers last week.
Let's go. Yeah, we did. Great job, Bob. Puts me out in 150 degrees without a golfer. Puts me out in a 150-degree gig without a golfer, Dog.
Hit it out.
Go ahead.
Here's Webb Simpson.
I didn't even get him. I couldn't even get him. I would have taken Webb Simpson. I never saw him. He blew me off.
Michael Thompson joined us.
I was it. One guest.
I heard about it. Gee whiz.
I was going to caddy for them. I had nothing. I was going to try and caddy for Bubba
The most
Watson.
expensive caddy in the world, I'll tell you that.
All right, go ahead. Tell your story.
My story is just how the show evolved and how you gentlemen on the air were able to have this familial type attitude towards the listeners. And you were friends, you were enemies, you were two guys at a bar, and it was amazing how the audience, I got a good thing to the Devils when we were...
Can you give us a story?
I
didn't ask you to
I'm
philosophize
sorry. You know what? I'm getting
what made
emotional.
it... Can you please just give us a story?
The death threats of the guy at the
That's not a good story.
Oh,
Come on. No, give us... Boy, you're lost.
The death threats at Madison Square Garden with dogs.
Get out of here. Give me...
Brought to you by Peerless Boilers.
This was by Adorama, second.
Bob's last appearance brought to you by Peerless Boilers. Go ahead, Con, you're up.
Indianapolis.
You know which one of them didn't get on the air. You can tell. Okay, up to 3. Go ahead.
Indianapolis 2000. We were there for the Knicks and Pacers. We were staying at the Westin in Indianapolis early in this series.
Right.
Your room was not ready. Dogs was.
Okay.
So the two of you
Excuse me. Your suite was not ready.
Shut up.
Dog's room was.
Good point, Colin. Good
But
point.
at any rate, the two of you, I went downstairs to check on your room.
Right.
I come back. The two of you are sitting on the couch watching the movie The Horse Whisperer. Okay? The two
Remember
of you.
that, Mike?
So I walk in. I said, listen, Mike, your room's not ready. Shh. Hey, quiet. It's a moment with Robert Redford and Kristen Scott Thomas where they are breaking up. Scene ends. Dog to Mike. Mike, hey, listen. That woman was lost, right thing, had to break up with her. I don't know what he is thinking being with her in the first place. Mike to Dog. Absolutely. Right move. Like it was Knicks Pacers.
Hey, here's my same trip on that one, dog. Remember when he took us up the road the wrong way at 80 miles an hour? And I actually made him get out of the car, and I wouldn't talk to him for like 3 days because he almost got us killed.
Dog and I ended up at St. Elmo's Steakhouse, and I said to him exactly how long is it going to be before he talks to me
Connor
again?
was the worst on directions of anybody. Plus, dog, remember we go to the Heat? And we go and stay at that real nice Marriott in Fort Lauderdale for the playoffs.
Yes.
And we knocked on Continent's door about 1 a.m. He's out on the balcony with 4 Coronas and a bigger cheeseburger than basically the size of a basketball. Remember that?
I do, and I remember another time that you had your leg injury. You know, you had your leg.
Yes.
And so I think I was at spring training with him, and we were driving from Tampa to Port St. Lucie or something, and we stopped at a Steak and Shake, or one of those famous steak places in Kissimmee.
Right.
And Condon likes to eat, as you well know. And there was a pretty waitress who got him his steak and forgot to give him his French fries.
Big mistake.
And she tried to hit on Condon, believe it or not. And Condon after a while said, "Shut the blank up and just give him my fries."
Hey,
It was actually garlic bread.
you can't leave Condon hungry, okay? All right, Malous, you're up. Go ahead.
First spring training trip. Mets, Yankees, having to drive cross state, and at the time, you and Chris, Mike, were doing the NCAA show with Howie Deneroff, and having it, we were leaving Port St. Lucie. Having to get on a conference call with Howie Deneroff, breaking down exactly how the NCAA Today show was going to go. So I'm leaving Port St. Lucie, 3-lane highway. I'm in the left lane. I'm driving. Mike's in the passenger seat. Dog's behind me. So I'm in the left lane, cruising right along. Dog, 20 minutes into the trip, starts going, Marky, let me ask you something. Are you a left lane Larry? Are you a left lane Larry? Is that what you're going to be the entire trip? Get into the left lane is for passing. So I, frustrated, get over to the middle lane, right? An hour down the line, I'm in the right lane. There's an 18-wheeler next to us. Mike looks over at me and goes, Malous, do you realize that if that 18-wheeler moves over, we're all dead? And Dog goes, Mikey, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. I would get out of the right lane. I would move over. I had enough issues. First spring training trip of my life. Nervous as anything. Yankees, Mets trying to do a good job dealing with Jay.
Valium by the time we get to the hotel.
My driving is getting broken down from Port St. Lucie to Tampa.
That's what people don't realize. Mike and I would analyze everything.
Really? Now the thing was, the producer not only had to drive, if he got lost, he could never live it down. And if something wasn't right, we took a wrong turn, and Continent, it was not exactly Magellan, okay? No. Continent could get lost. He could screw up a one-car funeral, Continent. He was the worst.
And he was a nervous
Oh my God.
Well, remember in the beginning, I got sick. I had
every time we turned around.
Did you have an ulcer?
I had gallstones. I got sick my first Super Bowl trip from nerves.
Was that Tampa? Was that the Thursday in Tampa?
Dog used to say to me,
that was a Spitzy special.
Dog used to say to me, the guy's 26, Mike, and he's always in the emergency room.
He made it through, though, unlike Eddie Erickson.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Without these three guys, though, and I want to give I think you would agree, Mike, you got to give a tip to the hat to Go, because you remember, Corley had come in, we had been successful. Malusis comes in, he wanted to be on the air, he had been successful. Gelb had to deal with a developing show. The other two guys had already had the show, so I thought it was a little harder for Gelb. Don't you agree?
Without question, by far, it was the hardest on Gelb. There's no question. And Gelb, he wasn't interested in, being on the air, although he was for a while. Till he gave the score 89-19 in the NCAA tournament. Okay? Yes.
Negotiate this.
Yeah, and, Gelb, who was so bad on the air. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And he had but then Gelb just tried to figure out how to make money on everything Dog and I went. Everywhere we went, he tried to figure out a way to make money.
And
that was his thing.
He would never stay for the game.
No, he never stayed. He'd sell the tickets. He'd sell tickets and go back to the room.
Super Bowls, Bob, we'd have 50-yard line seats, Bob. I mean, Colin just used to love to go to the games, not Gelb. Gelb wanted to go home.
Not true, because about 3 years in, I learned why Bob did it. He had just spent 6 hours with the two of you.
A little piece of mind.
Get away. Yeah, getting away from us was not a bad idea. It really wasn't. Well, listen, guys. Thank you. Good to see you, Gelb. Thank you very much. We appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.
I was going to get the three of us shirts that said I produced Mike and the Mad Dog, and all I had to show for it was several interest-free loans.
I think Conant still owes us money. You know that?
He sure does.
I used to pay his Visa every month. Every month. And Conant was taking trips to Cabo St. Lucas while he was the producer.
Go watch the Steelers somewhere with the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, and then say I have no money. Thank you, Conant.
Can you ask into party? Can you ask Christopher to just name that city in Hawaii?
Leave him alone.
No, what's the name of that city in Hawaii?
Honolulu. There we go.
Honolulu.
Thank you.
Mike,
very
pleasure.
Much.
Congrats.
All right, I'm taking a quick break, and then I'll wrap things up with Dog right after this. Mike and the Mad Dog are back together again, and it's funny. Dog and I have actually been apart since August in 2008, but it's almost like you can flick a switch and start the show
amazing.
again. It
really is amazing.
funny.
By the way, Federer's about to lose here. Are you watching?
Oh, I am. I'm riveted. When are you taking the show to Wimbledon?
He's in trouble in this fourth set. No, but we had those three things: the '96 Yankees, the '94 Rangers, and with the Knicks. And you made a good point. I had forgotten about the '90 Giants. That deserves to be there too. And that Joanne Farkas thing was people don't realize
it was that Dog Date Afternoon was hilarious, and it really was funny. It was, and watching this as honestly, and I'm sure when you think about it today and you see all the stuff, and listen, all the when you see all the pictures and you see all the stories, it always shows Mike and the Mad Dog and Imus, and obviously, the many other people who were a very big part of what's happened here over 25 years. But, when you think about it and think about your role in this, you deserve a tremendous amount of credit. I mean, you were an enormous part of this station's success, and that will never, ever change. And, this is always home to you. It always will be.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. I really do. I think I thought Imus coming here in '80. I wasn't there yet. But I think Imus getting that. Federer, by the way, is in a tiebreak. I think I think Imus getting there. You probably have addressed it today. I didn't.
No, Don's coming up at 5.
I think him getting there in '88 was huge in October, and I think the switch over to 660 too. Yes. I know Joe Hollander mentioned that. I think from a station perspective, you were there before me, so I wasn't there yet. But I thought those two things,
no question,
Imus in October of '88, and listen, give Boomer and Carton a lot of credit. I know you're on there today. They've done a tremendous job.
They've done a terrific job.
I'm not trying to downplay anybody, but
no, they've done a terrific job and had big shoes to fill. They've done a wonderful job in doing that. But the thing was the turn right in the beginning from changing the station to 660, inheriting Don there, and then having Mike and the Mad Dog take off. And as you and I know, and what really I think helped enormously, Dog, was that first 2 or 3 months, and we talked about Dog Date making a big difference, it did, but when you and I weren't dumb, when we saw by the spring that we were number one, we realized that we were onto something big, and all of a sudden, our lives changed dramatically that first year. You remember what it was like. You and I went through a time where, it was amazing. It was crazy how big things got so fast.
Well, you got to remember one thing, too. Both of us wanted to do solo shows.
Yep.
And so we all thought I could do it, Mike can do it. And so until you saw the success with a duet show, you always had that doubt in your mind, I can do it better without him, he can do it better without me. You always had that little doubt in your mind. And I think you're right. I think the first time the fans sort of acknowledged the fact that they liked what they were hearing, it gave us, you know what, we're making money, let's not moan and groan about this. Let's make it as good as we possibly can. But you got to have the teams, too. You know that. You got to have the teams be successful. And you and I know with the ratings, when the teams are good in your town doing these shows, it's going to help the local sports talk. And we were fortunate. We had the great Yankees in '96. The Mets were pretty decent when we first started. We had the Giants, obviously won a Super Bowl. And then the Rangers won the Stanley Cup, and Raleigh came with the Knicks.
Yeah.
So you put all that together, you had a large, the New York sports scene in that period, with you and I right in the middle of it, was a huge factor in our growth.
It did, and we caught it at the right time. I mean, there was so much growth at that time. And listen, I mean, the sports keep growing. I mean, look at all the syndication, look at all the other networks, look at Sirius, look at everything out there. There's so much there that wasn't there when you and I started. I mean, we pretty much had the first 10 years to ourselves. I mean, it was pretty much you and me. That was it. I mean,
no competition.
Yeah, none. I mean, it was just you. We had everything to ourselves. It was just you and me. That was it. I mean, we did whatever we wanted. We had everything.
FAN became the place to go because you had all the games on.
Absolutely, and we were it. I mean, you remember? I tell people this. I think they think I'm crazy. We went to Super Bowls when Dog and I were the only ones there.
Nobody there.
We were the only ones there.
Eddie Edelman may have gone to one of those.
Maybe.
Didn't Eddie Edelman go too?
I think the first year was just that guy behind us who was in New Orleans. Remember that one guy who was just in New Orleans?
I do, and that was when Bradshaw came on that first year and killed Elway.
Yes.
You remember that? He came on our show. He killed Elway, and I always tell that story because that's the time that Madden took you and me to his hotel.
Right.
To show us how in the world San Francisco could not possibly lose this game.
Remember Holmgren? They couldn't lose. It's
impossible. And at 55-10, he was showing Louis Wright can't guard him. Here's Rice, here's Taylor. He's going to go boom, bam, bam. There's no way they could win this game. And it turned out to be. So we were fortunate that we were the first one, and we had all the good guests. I mean, Raleigh used to.
Who was your favorite guest?
I tell you, I was just thinking about it, and I have not had him on. I tried to get him on this week. He won't do it. I think Riley in a lot of
Riley has never forgiven us. I told you that story that I was out vacationing with Roe in California.
Right, in California.
And I sat with him, and he told me how hurt he was that you and I didn't stick by him when he was
wrong.
I know, well, we told him that, but he said he couldn't get past it. He even told me that day at the pool he couldn't get past it. And that was 4 years later.
I think Riley was good to us.
And George Young, too.
George
Young was a great spot. He was a fun spot. I always think of George Young. Someone asked me the other day, who was the one guy we always wanted and couldn't get? And even I got asked that this morning by Carton when I was on with those guys. DiMaggio, I always thought was the guy we tried the hardest to get, which we never could get. We could not get him to the air.
No, Mantle we got Mantle a couple times.
Mantle, we got Ted Williams. We just never got Joe D.
Yeah, and Richard, you made a good point about Richard Neer. He has been underrated his whole career.
He has. He's been a guy who's been a real cog the whole time.
He doesn't get enough credit. But you're right. DiMaggio's the guy that we didn't get on that we would have liked. But Riley came on every game.
He did. Game sevens. I think that's why he felt that we betrayed him. And I said, Pat, what were we supposed to do? You were wrong. But, he felt that he had been good, and he had been great to us.
He felt we owed him loyalty instead of honesty.
He did, and he's never gotten over it. So I agree with you. And we did have I can remember you and I sitting courtside with Pat in the day of a Game 7 and him doing 45 minutes with us.
Unbelievable. I mean, I can also remember a day opening night when I had gotten on Dick Stockton about something. You remember that? It was Nick Bucks.
Yes.
And lo and behold, Cirillo gives me a seat right next to Dick Stockton and Leslie Visser. And Leslie Visser says, the whole world says, I got to sit next to this clown for the next 2 hours? Remember that? Oh, God. But Riley used to sit with us all the time. I wasn't there the year they beat the Pacers in Game 7. I was out with the Rangers.
Yeah, I were.
That one game. You had Riley on for an hour and a half.
Yeah, Ewing at the table, the whole thing. Absolutely true.
We had so much. I mean, again, we had so much fun doing these shows.
It's an amazing time when you think about it, 19 years. So, you know what? It would not be, and everyone just was waiting to see what time you'd come on. So,
I appreciate it, Mike. I mean,
and I'll tell you this. I'm going to tell you right now. If the Giants and the Yankees make the World Series, we're going to do. You can tell your people, and I'll tell the folks here. We'll do the Yankee Giants. We have to team up and do a show together.
How about Matt Cain? A perfect game.
Where did you see it?
I went to bed in the 5th inning of that game.
Hey, what the heck? What the heck are you guys feeding Melky Cabrera?
Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
You couldn't stand Melky Cabrera.
I hated him. I'll tell you this too. And I said this the other day after he beat LA. If Tim Lincecum pitches like he can pitch, the Giants are going to go to the World Series.
I think the Giants. I think we have a great chance for. I've always wanted a Giant Yankee World Series.
We never had one.
No,
Never had
that's what we need.
Well, Mikey, great for having
Listen, listen. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Tell
By the way,
Timmy, tell the family I said hello, and
will.
tell everybody,
Jeannie
tell
says
Tony
hello.
I said hello, and
Jeannie says hello. Colin, Timmy, and
Good.
Kira and Patrick say hello. Those Jack, Emily, and Harrison, how they all doing? Good?
everybody's good. We'll talk soon, and again, thanks for giving us a couple of minutes. Appreciate it.
All right, keep in touch.
All right, that's the dog. We'll be back after this.